We'll start again. It is 6:32 on Thursday, June 29th, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Lunenburg School Committee to order. We are meeting remotely this evening. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being broadcast at a later date over the Lunenburg Public Access channel. If you wish to join our Zoom meeting, which you must have already done, otherwise you wouldn't hear me, but I will read what it says to read. The meeting ID is 766-316-7600. This meeting will be broadcast at a later date through the local access cable channel and on the public access Facebook page, and will be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel within 24 hours after the meeting. This agenda lists all topics which may be discussed at the meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by open meeting law. All right. Next is public comment, but before we do that, the school committee welcomes comments from the public. Comments addressing topics under the scope and authority of the school committee are welcome at either public comment section. Please remember this is public comment, not discussion, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Each public comment section has a maximum of 10 minutes. Comments about individual students are prohibited by state and federal law. So is there anyone with a public comment this evening? Is there anyone on the committee with a public comment this evening? Well, seeing no public comments, we will just continue on. The chair's report, I have no chair's report this evening, so that's even faster. We will move on to review and approve minutes, regular session minutes from May 24th and June 7th. Do I have any questions about those minutes? I'm not seeing any. So do I have a motion to approve those minutes? Mr. Leighton.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 24th and June 7th, 2023.
And thank you, Mr. Beardmore. We have to do a roll call vote because we are remote.
Sorry, I'm just admitting another member of the school committee now. Shall we hold the vote and see if?
I would think that's probably a good idea. We can do that.
We would, yeah. Since she's not here.
All righty. Hello, Laura. We are talking about the minutes for the regular session on May 24th and June 7th. Did you have any questions about those minutes?
Not.
You did not. Okay. Then we will take a roll call vote on approval. Brian had made a motion and Peter had seconded it. So all those in favor according to roll call vote.
Ms. Brzezowski? I didn't hear that one.
Sorry, yay.
Thank you. Mr. Leighton,
Yes.
Mr. Beardmore,
Yes,
Mrs. Ashenbo.
Yes. All right, then now we have the superintendent's report.
I have no report this evening.
All right. Student representative report. We don't have our formal student representatives this evening. We have other students, but we'll get to them in a few minutes. New business. The carryover of open purchase orders. Mr. Cassidy. Mr. Cassidy, we're not hearing you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I got trapped. Um, Mike Cassidy, business manager for the Lunenburg Public Schools. So annually, the business office brings forward purchase orders that need to be remained open into the next fiscal year. This is allowable under our mass finance law. To the best of my knowledge, the town does it. They waiting for either final invoices. And a lot of ours is invoices from utilities as we wait for final utility bills for the month of June. Sometimes there are end of the year purchases that we hold over that purchase order until we can receive the goods, but the money is encumbered during this school or fiscal year. This year, there's a number of purchases that were done under grants, and there was a lake grant that we got from DESE that allowed us to order some supplies, and there was a purchase of nursing supplies under the Department of Public Health grant that we were able to shift some money and do end of the year purchase. Also, you'll see at the bottom is the 58,000 for the new vehicle under capital funds. It's on our list. I'm not sure if the town is doing it. Technically it's their money. We entered the requisition. I'm putting it on our list just so it doesn't fall between the cracks. So there's a good chance that may fall off of this list, but it's encumbered up at the town. I suspect, once again, I'm just trying to get it covered so we don't lose that PO. But that amount wouldn't be reported on the end of the year report. So I suspect that number is going to kind of fall off the total number of 172. So like as I mentioned, this is an annual thing. The going in front of the school committee. Just a lot of this stuff is waiting for final invoices and hold out on purchases. So I'll turn it over to the committee or to the chair for any questions from the committee.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Cassidy, once again, for being so complete in what you do. Is there anyone on the committee with questions? I cannot see you, so jump in.
I don't have any questions. My only comment is, and I think it's prudent to include the truck on this, but my understanding is that capital items do not need to be encumbered. That's automatic, but that could be something that is automatic because somebody at town hall crosses T's and dots I's. I don't actually know, but when I was on the finance committee, that wasn't the carryover of capital plan items was a given.
Okay.
But I agree with your decision to put it here just to be safe.
All right, anyone else? Hearing nobody else jump in.
Laura had a question.
Oh, okay, sorry, I can't see. Laura?
Can't hear you, Laura. She's trying to speak. Still can't hear. Still can't hear.
All right.
Yeah, now we can hear.
Oh, there you go.
You can hear me now?
We can.
Okay, I guess the headphones aren't working. Well, that's fine. Okay. I had a question about the Sebastian de Atucha thing. I just, just that one, because I'm new at this and I don't know what I'm doing. I know that Michael had said that he sells that's the electricity we produce from the solar panels. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a complicated system with the solar panels where there's a company that owns the solar panels. They find buyers for the energy, and then we get credits to reduce our energy costs. So all these. This is from the deregulation of energy many years ago. So you can have suppliers, distributors. It's to say that I'm an absolute expert in the field of energy and follow the commodity on the stock exchange. I am not that type of person. But these vendors work hand in hand with the solar energy that is produced from our
Okay,
panels. Yeah.
My only question is, why is that an encumbrance for us and for 11,000?
Well, we pay the person. We haven't received his final invoice.
Okay,
So that might be a little high, but it's really, we're waiting for the final invoice. So there is a fee for him to find the buyers, so we can get a reduced cost.
So this is operational overhead.
Yeah.
thank you.
Sorry, I muted. If there's no one else with any questions, I guess there isn't. So then I would like a motion to accept the carryover of open purchase orders. I can't see you, so
So moved.
I'll second
Thank
the
you.
motion.
thank you very much. And then we need a roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Beardmore,
Yes.
Mr. Leighton,
Yes.
and Mrs. Ashambo.
Yes,
Thank you
very
everyone.
much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have the class of 2023 request for funds.
So this evening we have Ms. Jessie Walker, who is the advisor to the class. So I'll turn it over to her now.
Hi. So as Dr. Burnham said, my name is Jessie Walker. I'm one of the 3 advisors for the class of 2023, and I'm here with 2 of our officers. I'll let them introduce themselves now that they're young adults.
Hello, I'm Dylan Picnarsik, class vice president.
Hi, I'm Gianna Pentademos, and I am the class secretary.
So just quick, I won't say too much, but we've had a fun 4 years getting to know each other. They've grown into young adults. It was really fun experience for me. I've never been an advisor before. Due to their freshman year being abruptly cut short, they only got to have 3 fundraisers in their 4 years, and they did a fantastic job planning, executing, and fundraising a good amount of money for the class. They did some unique fundraisers, including receiving custom artwork from a local artist and having the designs on apparel that was sold throughout the district, a cornhole tournament at Hollis Hills, and then a dodgeball tournament for all the classes. So we utilized a decent amount of the money for the prom and then gained some funds back from prom as well. So they've got $4,644.36. The important part left in their account. We had that verified by Deb Arrow, and we are requesting for those funds to be released to the class of 2023 to use for future class events.
Okay, and as you establish an account for this, am I to assume that Mr. Picnarsik, I never say that right, I'm sorry. And, I'm not gonna say this right either.
No, yes, they're tricky
Ms.
ones.
Pentademos, will your names be found on that said account? Is
Yes,
that how this is gonna work?
yes,
Okay, and that would be deposited in a local bank.
yes.
I don't have any questions about it. I think the class did an excellent job raising money under some very interesting circumstances, and an equally excellent job at graduation under interesting circumstances once again. So I have no other questions. Are there any questions from members of the committee?
Congratulations again. And thank you, Ms. Walker, for serving as advisor with your two co-advisors. You did a great job.
My pleasure. It was a fun experience. I'm gonna miss them.
All right, well, we will vote on this. I need to have a motion to approve the class of 2023's request for their funds.
I'll move to release the class of 2023 funds under the care and custody of Mr. Picnerick and Ms. Pentademos.
I'll second that.
And then we need a roll call vote.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Beardmore,
Yes,
Leighton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ashambo.
Yes. So that should be all set for you, and we thank you very much and wish you the very, very best moving forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All righty. Now we move on to the donation of furniture.
We have a donation from the Greater Worcester Community Foundation, a nonprofit in Worcester. They are closing up the office, so they are donating some office furniture, including 2 bookcases, 8 folding tables, and what they believe will be at least 2 dozen chairs that would work around those tables. And there may also be a small, yet undetermined number of office desks available as well. This donation was coordinated with the assistance of one of our parents, Ms. Tiffany Tavares, and I would recommend acceptance of this donation.
Any questions about this donation?
I have recent experience with chairs around conference tables in our schools. I think this is a donation that we could certainly take advantage of.
I couldn't
right,
agree
then.
more.
So then could I have a motion to accept this donation?
So moved.
I'll second.
All righty. And all those in favor, roll call vote.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Beardmore,
Yes,
Leighton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ashambo.
Yes, and thank you very much to Ms. Tavares for scouting that out for us. Very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
Now we move on to committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report? Mr. Leighton?
Yes, Finance Committee met on June 22nd. They plan to invite the treasurer to talk about money sitting in accounts next meeting. Questions came up about whether they can get interest on those accounts. The town manager wasn't present at the beginning. They were looking for tax abatement updates, board of assessor updates. She did show up later to give those updates. They talked about the primary AC project, that the window was already closed, that there wasn't going to be action on it. And it wasn't going to make a difference for this summer. The town manager gave a report. Invitations for bid prices came in for the guardrail repairs, $80,000. It was a Mass DOT winter recovery assistance funds, and the carryover was allowed. The Page Street culvert was about $86,000. Page Construction, Powell Construction had that, and it was 23 capital planning. The 5-year reassessing came in higher, 112,000. and ARPA funds. We're gonna cover the difference. The LED street light had 3 proposals and they were seeking the lowest bid based off of installation maintenance. They still haven't finalized that. The generator at the adult center was being worked on. 2 dump trucks. There was no luck on the state bid contracts. 925 Mass Ave was completed, but they need to do a number of issues looking, there's looking better, and the underground storage is taken care of. There's a grant through Mass Development, which allows Mass Development for feasibility studies and market analysis and RFP for proposals. Looking at like October, November, to issue awards and have a competitive application. And Mass Development has been working with them for years in this project. The town does own the property. There's an environmental assessment. They're gonna do an environmental assessment. It's a small lot. The fencing kind of limits the property. It's about 0.13 acres. And they plan to put it up for sale. It seems like they do have interested parties too. In regards to the abatements, there was 82,000 out of ARPA funding for the abatements. And the number that came in for the abatements was $1,351,147 plus interest of about $5,000. And there was 1.5 million in the fund. So there was enough money to cover it. They have to wait to release the extra funding. ATV is going to release the funding. And then the money for this from ARPA will be used up through the warrant process of abatements, I guess. The gas station is also in the architectural preservation, so whoever buys it can't knock down the building, they stated. The building stays, and people are still interested in it. They also talked about the new committee. I'm trying to think of the name now. The
Master plan.
yeah, the master plan committee. There was apparently 8 categories. They were analyzing surveys. There's 6 open positions still available for at-large community members. It somewhat competes with the municipal building design committee, but it's kind of secondary, and it's going to be giving the municipal building design committee data. The master plan met last Thursday with the consultant too and gave a starting point. And then the finance committee also canceled their August 10th meeting. That was it. Sorry for long. It was actually a short meeting, but long update from the town manager.
Lots to say then.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else have a committee report? I just have that the finance committee appointing committee met on Tuesday night and appointed Jean Russell and Chris Menard for terms on the finance committee. Ms. Russell's term to end in 2025, Mr. Menard's in 2026. The committee is still in need of members. So if you are interested at all, please submit a talent bank form. We will be meeting again because I believe there is another member that needs to be re-upped, and we will be meeting on that in the future. So that's what I have there. Anything else? All right, then, is there any public comment? Not seeing any public comment, we'll move forward. Topics for future discussion. I would like to set an August date, not this minute. I'll send something around, find out when people are not going to be available, for a meeting to review protocols and to review our goals from last year and just see what the status is on that. I don't want to get into next year's goals over the summer, but I think it would be prudent to review those. But those would be the only 2 things I would have on that. I know we want to talk about a possible Turkey Hill forum to see what may be done with the building after it is no longer a school building, should that occur. We could probably talk about that night, but I don't think we would do too much with it per se, other than perhaps plan what we're going to do to talk about it. Those are my thoughts. Does anybody else have thoughts on that?
When we talked about the Turkey Hill thing and the
Mhm.
potential overlap with TC Passios and all that, we had flirted with the idea of a joint meeting or some kind of interaction with the municipal building committee, just to kind of explore this potential overlap around the future dissolution of Turkey Hill. It wasn't clear to me if there was an action item to set that up or who was going to set it up, or so I'm just curious if anybody else interpreted that the way I did.
I interpreted that Brian was going to talk to them at their
Okay.
next meeting. That's
Oh.
what. Mr. Leighton, do you recall what that was, how we ended that discussion?
Yeah, it also sounded like they weren't meeting anytime soon, but if the meeting comes up, I will definitely bring it up. But I don't know, I can also reach out to just Michael Ray Jeffries just to give him the info too.
Well, we could approach Mr. Jeffries, you can, or I can approach Mr. Jeffries and ask if he thinks that'd be prudent to do during the summer, or should we just wait for their meeting?
All right, I can reach out.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I think that's what we have here. So next we have a executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel.
I move that we enter
Thank
into
you.
executive session as described and to adjourn at the conclusion of executive session.
Second that motion.
And then a roll call vote.
Mrs. Brzezowski,
Yes.
Mr. Beardmore,
Yes.
Mr. Leighton,
Yes.
Mrs. Ashambo.
Yes.